everyone. Good afternoon or good evening or good morning, wherever you are in the world. Today I am with Christine, and I'm so excited to have her in this second interview. We are going to talk about birth, her birth, in general birth, I think, and support after birth. And I'm grateful that she's here and to tell her story, a little bit of her story. So welcome, Christine. Thank you for being
Hi.
here with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for thinking that my story is worth telling.
Yes. Every story I think is worth to tell, and I'm especially yours. I feel this is a really treasure, a gift that you are giving to people to listen. So let's start with who you are. Maybe whatever you want to tell us about you, what you do in your life, what you love doing, anything that you feel inspired to share about you.
Well, my name is Christine. I live in Joburg, South Africa, and it's it's my hometown. It's where I was born. I've traveled around quite a bit. I'm a chef. I've been cooking for, I think, 17 years, and I've traveled around with that and ended up back in my hometown. And I own my own business. It's a plant-based food business, which I'm really passionate about. Giving people healthy food, feeding my child the best nutrients I can is sort of part of what I'm passionate about. And yeah, I mean, I love being the lifestyle we have here is beautiful. Going to the beach for walks in the morning is amazing. We've got a dog, so I take a dog to the beach and baby in the carrier, and just it's a beautiful family town to live in, or city, should I say? And I can't say much more. It's a very lazy kind of town, like lots of braais or barbecues on the weekends. We don't have a very crazy life, like not lots of parties, but a nice glass of wine in the evenings doesn't go down too badly. And I mean, post birth, it's been quite a slow, as you'll hear, but I mean, it's been quite a slow sort of journey to where we are now. And people say, oh, time flies when you have a baby. And I think that time stands still from what we've been through. But I can't wait for time to fly, so I can see what that normal life is like with the baby. That's it's a little nutshell about me.
Thank you for sharing this. Do we want to dive in and maybe start? Yes, you mentioned already, a life with a baby, and would you like to share your birth story a little bit, and then we also maybe talk about what is for you your life as a mother. So maybe let's start from your birth. And yes, let's listen your birth story first.
So I actually had like what I would presume would be a perfect pregnancy. I think I had 1 minute of morning sickness in 9 months, and other than that, I was gymming up until 8.5 months. I was going for walks. I was doing yoga. I was eating healthy. I felt fantastic. I was glowing. I was doing all the things the textbook said is a perfect pregnancy, and I had the perfect birth plan. I had a great midwife who I thought was a great midwife. I had a doula. I have a perfect size bath. I've got the perfect bathroom. I've got the perfect candles. Everything was just lined up for the perfect birth.
You were planning to birth at home? That was your
home birth, water birth, get into the shower afterwards, get into bed afterwards. I had it all. I had the music. I had the playlist. I had everything. I had my meditations, my partner's to-do list. I had it all done, and I was quite proud of myself. And I've got childbearing hips, apparently. So nothing about my birth was I was worried about. I didn't even Google cesarean section. I didn't even watch. I did some videos on what's that thing called where you when you get your mindset right for home birth? I can't think what it is, like for birth and hypnobirthing.
Hypnobirthing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did a course on that, and I skipped the cesarean section part because I was like, that's not going to be me. I'll have, if I have to go to hospital, I'll do natural birth, So, and then I got to 40 weeks, I got to 41 weeks. And then my midwife phoned me and told me that she understands that I have medical aid, which I never told her about. And I said to her, you never asked me, so I didn't know that it was a problem to have medical aid. And she's like, well, because you have medical aid, you need to have a birth in hospital. And I got such a fright.
At 40 weeks at the end.
At 40 weeks, she told me that she won't do my home birth at 41 weeks. She said to me, you're 42 weeks now. I won't do your birth at home. I was like, I'm not 42 weeks, I'm 41 weeks. And she said, no, you're not. You're 42 weeks. And I was 41 weeks. I can't even explain to you how bizarre the story is, because I was 41 weeks according to Margani, and then suddenly they switched this and they said, no, you're 42 weeks. And they wouldn't listen to reason. They said, we're right, you're wrong, basically. I got such a fright. I was devastated. And she texted me and said, she didn't text me. She texted me via somebody else and said, your birth will be in the hospital. Good luck for the future. Wow. There was nothing. It was horrific. I was on the phone with her and she's like, you need to calm down. She was so rude. I sent her quite a mean message back and she never responded. I felt very violated by the experience. Yeah. My partner thinks midwives are a scam. I'm heartbroken by it because I know they're not. And I know that the whole movement is what people need to be going towards or having them in your life. And I think a home birth is beautiful and the whole process of it. Anyway, so I then went to see my gynecologist and she said, yes, you're going to have your birth in hospital. We'll induce you on Monday. And I said to her, but I'm not 42 weeks. And she's like, I don't care what you're saying. You're 42 weeks. You'll be induced on Monday. If you want to carry this on further without me, I won't support you. So I did everything in the book. I ate chilies. I did all the old wives' tales to induce my labor naturally. Everything. I even saw a rheumatologist who said to me she wouldn't want to press any points because I'm not her patient. She wouldn't want to do anything to me to induce labor unnaturally or whatever. I was
at that point, I think you were quite stressed already.
Because this is the thing. I was incredibly stressed. Yeah, incredibly stressed. So eventually I got into a mindset that it's okay to go have a hospital birth. To be induced is okay. I did a lot of meditating around it. I felt quite at peace with the idea. So I got my playlists, I got my snacks, I got my partner, and we went to hospital in the middle of COVID, and we had our private room, and I was given whatever, the induction medicine. And then, it was beautiful. I was like, is this what contractions are? I felt like a superwoman. I felt so empowered. I was like, the feeling of the contraction, and so I can take this. Felt so powerful. And I just thought, like, if this is what birth is, I can't wait. Like, I can't wait for it to get stronger and harder. And I'm here to do this. And about 6 hours later, they said, you haven't dilated at all. The baby's heart's going into distress. And we've got to operate. And like, now. It was like, my whole world just like fell apart. It just felt like the worst news I could ever have heard. I never expected to be cut open. It was so violent. It was the way it was done was without care. Like, obviously it was with care to the baby, but I truly feel like I was robbed of a birth because of the way the medical system, how they handled it. I really do. I think I'd like to believe if I'd waited a week, my baby would have been born naturally, very calmly and very beautifully, whether it's in a hospital or not. And it was within minutes. I mean, all I wanted. They said you have to go into to be, C-section, and I was like, all I wanted was my music. I was like, where's my earphones? I can't find my earphones. And I was freaking out. And they were like, there's no time for music. Like, we need to get you in there. yeah, and then it was bright lights. I said, I really want the baby to be put into my chest immediately. And I really wanted to have delayed cord clamping, and I'd like my partner to cut the umbilical cord. Those are my 3 requests, considering the environment we're going into. And they only honored one of those, which was delayed cord clamping. So my baby was taken from me and had photographs with the gynecologist, took photographs, selfies with him before they even gave my baby to. It was the most bizarre. I can't even explain to you. It felt like I was in a movie. Like, really? It was just, yeah, it felt, it was really weird. Sorry, I don't think gynecologist, a pediatrician. He took the baby and they took him to the birthing table, a table to clean him up. And I was like, I want my baby on my chest. And they were like, we're bringing him to you now. Just calm down. Don't worry. So I didn't get him on me immediately. I could hear him crying. I just wanted him on me. And yeah, and then, I mean, those who've had C-sections know that it's not very pleasant post stitching you up, and you've got to go into a recovery room, which was cold, was out my baby. I couldn't believe what had happened, and that I just, yeah. So that was that.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I can feel your pain, honestly, and I can, I'm a midwife, and I can feel the pain of many women going through this. Especially, there are women that are happy to go through C-section, but there are other women that I know have horrible stories with birth in general, C-section or vaginal birth, and I can feel you, and thank you for sharing this and be vulnerable here. And yeah, my question is, how did you integrate all this after birth?
Well, I was in the ward with the baby, and they said, my son, and they said he needs to latch. So he drank quite a lot from me when he was brought to me, and then he wouldn't really latch again. And the rule for C-section was 3 nights in hospital. And by day 2, I'd had a horrific experience with a nurse who came in and was pinching my nipples and forcing my baby to drink from my nipple. It was horrible, really, really horrible, to the point that I actually told her to, is this a safe space? Told her to fuck off out of my room. And I said to her, don't come back here. And then I just said, I phoned a lactation consultant, who I said, I need you to meet me at home. I'm not spending another night in hospital. I really need your support. I didn't know her at all. And lactation consultants in my book are angels. The patience they have and the knowledge they have and what they can gift to a woman who doesn't have the knowledge, and to teach them how to breastfeed their child, I think is something truly special. So she met me at home, and she helped me to bond with my baby over my boob. And it took us 5 days with feeding with a syringe and finger feeding to get to a point where he could drink from my boob. And it was like a party. We all celebrated. It was this most amazing experience to have fought through this stressful time, to have gotten to a point where my baby could feed from me naturally. Which was my choice. I wanted to breastfeed. If I couldn't have the natural birth, the home birth, the water birth, all I want to be able to do now is breastfeed my baby. That's my one thing I can give him that I couldn't give him the other. Because my partner said to me, you just want to have a natural birth because it's what you want. And I was like, but you don't understand. I've done research. I know that this is beneficial to the baby to go through the birth canal. I know that this is good for him. And he couldn't really understand. So it was quite hard for me to try and, without medical knowledge, without the terminology, to explain to him how beneficial it is to a baby to be born that way. And he's like, but I'm a C-section baby, and I'm fine. And I was like, I know it's not about being fine, it's about giving him the best start that I can. So anyway, then I decided to breastfeed. So that was great. And then on day 9 of life, he started screaming in uncontrollable pain and started vomiting thick brown liquid. And so we rushed into ER, and they said he was fine. Then took him home, and the next day he continued to do that. We took him to the pediatrician, the same one who took a photo with him in the hospital room. He said he's fine. We then took him home, and that night he almost died. So we took him back to the hospital, and they did an emergency operation on him. They said he had something wrong with his intestines, so they had to fix it up. Said everything's fine now, he's okay. So he went into NICU and was on a ventilator, and they said he should be fine in a couple of days. 2 weeks later, they still didn't know what was wrong with him. And then we were airlifted to another city, to Cape Town, where he was operated on Christmas Day, to be told a week later that he had something called Hirschsprungs, which is he's had another operation since then, and he's actually thriving, so he's great. But some time almost, because all of this happened, and I went and saw a psychologist while he was in hospital, but I honestly feel it actually didn't really do much for me. I felt like the community of women that I have around me as friends online and in person, that is what helped me through speaking my story, being able to talk to them about it, having people sit in circle with me and like be with me on my level. Because a lot of people, not saying one is worse than the other, a lot of people in my town are very Christianly based, are quite religious, and would want to pray for me and say, Jesus is doing this, and, God, and it's not really how I live my life. So I appreciate the sentiment, absolutely. But for me, I needed people who are like-minded to be able to say, like, the universe, like, what is going on? What is his calling? What is his purpose? Why is he going through this journey? My son's choice. This is his life. It's not my journey. He's going through this. How can I support him in his choices, and what has his past life done for him to get to this situation, and that sort of thing. And I had people around me like that I could authentically talk to about what I believe, and that helped me through that the hard time. Yeah.
More feels like being present with whatever is happening, rather than projecting or being, it's good to be in pain, to process it, to process whatever feeling is there, but also to be in the present moment with whatever it is, and what you need, your family needs, your son needs, rather than being the victim state and actually, or projecting in the future. It feels like more this process of, okay, let's be with whatever it is and what's happening now, and support you with what you need now.
I think that's absolutely the word that we use probably the most out of the last 6 months, is the now, like being present in the now. I mean, the amount of times I'd say, but what if, or, what if was kind of scratched off the table really early on, because what if is a terrible statement to make, because you can never, if you go to what if, then everything can implode. Because you just, you can't live in a wonder, what would have happened, and what did I do wrong, and why did it happen to me, and if only. So we started a lot of like in the now, and not trying to preempt what would happen in the future, because he could have died in the second operation. He could have died in the third operation. I mean, obviously we can all die at any point. I mean, that's a given. But in terms of like, the reality of the situation, being in the now, saying right now I can read him a story. Right now I can have a glass of wine at dinner. It's okay to have a glass of wine if my son's in ICU. It's okay. It's okay to do some yoga for myself and my son's in ICU. It's, all those things are okay, because I need to be the best version of myself in order to help him. And so my partner and I became an incredibly strong team, because we both had that mindset. It wasn't like one of us. So I think, advice I would give to someone in a situation of trauma or of stress is to do the best you can to communicate with your partner, and just become a unit versus a fighting team. Because often we had quite a few like fights, but it was the other than one of us would say, hang on, you're just upset right now. Let's just realize why you're upset and bring it back to the core of why, versus it like, the dinner's cold or whatever, and it becomes a big fight because you were too lazy to warm it up, or whatever the small thing is that causes the fight. Ultimately, it's because we stress our son sick. We know that this is what fights are about. It's about something small that's actually, there's a bit deeper picture.
Yeah.
So I think,
wow, I have so many questions. Yeah, but you answered to one of them, because I wanted to ask you how in this moment of need, how do you connect with Sebastian, your son, and how do you connect with yourself? And you say that you take time, for you, so that you can be present for him, right?
Yeah, someone asked me today, actually, they said, oh, is it just the best thing being a mom? And I really struggled to answer that question without feeling a bit crass, because I was like, yeah, it's great, but I almost feel like I'm not that connected to him sometimes. Like right now, I'm like, he's sleeping but when I'm with him, I feel so great. It just feels wonderful to be with him. But it's almost like when I'm not with him, I don't miss him as such. I just know he's there. I know I'm working towards him and for him, and I'm away from him because I'm working, or because I'm having a walk on the beach for me, or whatever it might be that I'm doing. When I'm with him, I'm with him, and I feel very connected. But I don't know if maybe it's what we've been through, or because a lot of time we spent apart in the first few weeks, or first month we were apart a lot, and it wasn't that close bonding experience. And I wonder if it's almost been almost a privilege for him to learn independence quite early, for me to feel okay being away from him. Maybe that's just my version of the situation and what I've chosen to take from it. But I want him to be independent, and I want myself to not feel the need to have to be with him all the time in order for him to be the best version of himself. I want him to know that mom goes and does her thing, and she still loves him, and she's still there. And I don't know if this has helped me to get there, or if it would have been like this anyway. I don't know. Who knows? Again, what if? You never know what would have happened. But I try really hard to take a bit of time every day, even if it's just my journaling in the morning. That's time for myself. And then I go to work every day. I've got a nanny just for a few hours a day. I go to work and then come home, and I'm with him then for the afternoon. And that's our time to go for a walk, or to just play, or to light a fire and look at the fire, or to read a story, or whatever it might be. I mean, he's still very little, so he's still just sort of in the initial bonding stage. But I don't know if that answered your question or not.
Yeah. I feel like you are saying, or at least what I hear also from other mothers, that they feel guilty because, yes, they are connected with their children, but also they feel like deprived from their time. And there is this concept that because you are a mother, or someone is a mother, then you need to give 200% or 250%, and become so deprived that actually you can't give anymore. And so when you take your time back, yes, you have the responsibility of your children, but if you take your time back, however you want to do it, journaling, going to the beach, or doing yoga, have a glass of wine, then you fulfill yourself, and you are able to be present with your partner, with your child, in a different way.
Yeah.
And I was discussing this. I was talking about this with many other people that I know that have children, and but I feel guilty to take time. Is it correct? Do you think it's fine? So I know what you mean when you said that, and I think it's really important. At least I'm not a mother, but I witness so many mothers, and I feel it's okay to take time for you. to
I mean,
fulfill.
I read something recently. Someone wrote on a group. They said, "How do you go for a shower? How do you shower with having a small baby?" And I just was like, "What do you?" Like in my head, I was like, "What do you mean?" I mean, I wasn't judging her. I was just more like, "What do you mean?" I just put him on the bed and I shower. If he cries, I'm right here, baby. I mean, I'll see you in like literally 1 minute. I'm just having a shower. And so I don't know if that's just, again, part of my experience, that it's like, you're not in the hospital, you're literally a meter from me. Like, how much closer do you want to be besides being held? You're safe, you're dry, you're warm, you're fed. I'm just over here. So I don't know if that's something I'm obviously, like, we've been through our experience. So I'm super grateful to the fact that, like, I feel okay just leaving him, because the first few weeks post hospital, I definitely had like anxiety that when he cried, I'm like, he thinks I'm leaving him. I cannot let him cry, because if he cries, it means that I'm leaving him, and he's going to get anxiety, and it'll filter through into his adult life, and oh my goodness. And so then I had to bring myself back into the now. And it's like, right now, he is safe, warm, fed, dry, whatever the criteria is for me to feel like a successful mother in that moment. And so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like to think that, like, to try and take the experience that whoever it is, or whatever you go through, and try and break it down into your version of, like, what can make your life easiest. And like, for me, I want to have a shower on my own. And in order to do that, how do I get that? How do I handle that and do it the best? This morning, I wanted to get the following things sorted for the morning. So what do I do with him? He's happy. He's playing with his toys. He's okay. He can't see me, but I can see him and I can hear him. And so I don't know. I guess everyone has their own anxieties about their own things, and it's how you can't, it's like, there's no one size fits all, because someone else might, again, like, be upset that they can't leave their child so they can shower. But it boils down to the fact that I want to have a shower and get my day started and have a baby at the same time. So how do you get that right? I mean, there's no real answer. It's just to each person individual.
And this is the beauty of being mother, because every mother literally will give a different answer. Because we create, it's really the creation energy. Every mother literally creates her own reality and on as her own way to do things, and it's beautiful. It's super beautiful. And I have two last questions for you. The first one is going back to the concept of community. You shared a little bit. What's your approach about your community and asking for help? What's really helpful for you, and what did you learn from your community?
I think good question. A lot of people reached out. Well, I put it this way, the people I didn't want to talk to, I sort of didn't like respond to. If someone messaged me and was someone who had never really heard from them, like, how's your baby, how's your birth, how things, and I didn't ever hear from them normally, and it was a random message from them out the blue, I just ignored them. Like, I do feel like, if you're in a situation where you don't, if you're feeling vulnerable, no matter what it might be, if it's just a cesarean that's like no complications, and you're feeling like you don't want to feel, sorry, my dog's just barking. If you feel this is how you feel, you shouldn't have to, like, justify why you're feeling like that. You've had a new baby, you're at home, you're recovering. So I don't think you need to reply to anybody you don't want to reply to. You should just sit with it, at least for the first 3, 6, however long you need. But I do think if someone reached out and said, I'd like to help you, and you do feel that you need some help, that people are asking, like, they're asking, they want to help. They're not like saying, hi, how's it going? Tell me your story. They're like, hey, what can I do for you? I think you really, like, need to. I was like, yes, I need food. I don't care what it is. I just need food for the next 5 days. One meal would be great. Or I really, really would love a smoothie. Particularly, I don't want unhealthy eggs and bacon. I really want a smoothie. Like, being able to, if someone's asking to support you, being able to, like, authentically answer them, and not just taking, like, okay, cool, whatever you can give me is fine. Actually, what will nourish my body right now is a big fat burger. That's what I really want. And, like, the people want to give you what I do think on asking people afterwards, they were like, yeah, I don't want to give you what you don't want. I don't want to give you a salad if you want a burger, or vice versa, and I think being able to realize people, if you think about yourself and put yourself in the shoes of them, if you are asking, hey Laura, can I get something for your birth, like, or can I support you somehow, I don't know, I think being able to say yes, I need support is something quite hard for women, especially in a community we're in now, where like there isn't that old-fashioned like village community where you all support each other. You are so independent, and we are brought up to be so independent, and it's okay not to need help and to be this successful powerhouse woman who doesn't need anybody. But it feels so good. Like, it felt so good receiving a big basket of food from 5 of my friends who just put things together, and they were just like, it felt like life-changing. It was like pasta sauce and like frozen meals, and it was like this gift from the gods just fallen onto our table, because I said yes, I need support. And I didn't know what form it would take, but they knew that the only way to nourish me in that time was food. And so yeah, I mean, different people for different things. I had a friend who I went for a walk with often. I'd say, I just need a walk, and I said, I don't know how far I can walk. And she's like, doesn't matter if we just go around the block or just up the street or whatever it might be. I think it's really hard, but it's, people really want to help, especially when they're asking, can I help? I think maybe asking someone who doesn't really offer it might be a bit different, but those who offer really do want to help. I don't know if that answers the question.
It's so important to receive help after birth. It's something that really it's neglected, and also I think it's part of living in the city, or that we tend to be more isolated, especially for those ones that don't have communities around, or don't have families around, or live in a new city. I think it's so isolating, and it's also sometimes the extreme of that energy, how you want to call it, mothering, or sometimes we call it feminine energy of, being dependent, not asking for help, or I can do it by myself. But actually, when we do accept, receive, and ask for help, it's so nourishing. And they can change, like, can really change a mother who just given birth and as a child that needs support, needs further support. And I think it can really change everything, community friends that deliver food.
Yeah.
I always say to couples, before birth or about to give birth, make sure you have mothers around, or friends around. Make sure that you ask for food, so that you have food prepared, or you ask them to, help you with food, or with something else, whatever you need. And actually, they always tell me, yeah, it does change my life having people around and receiving or asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even if you don't have people around, like if you are quite isolated for some reason, I mean, we have the beauty of online. Like, you can just join a community, and people, especially moms, seem to be really like welcoming of like, I need some help. And people like, yeah, I'll meet you for coffee, or let's have a phone call. And I've seen that quite a lot in the since I've given birth. Like, moms sort of are so willing to gravitate to each other and support each other, even if they don't know the person. It's like, we're both moms together. We can do this, So just, yeah.
There are so many options now, like breastfeeding cafe, or recover, circles online as well. So there are so many options, and I think it's worth it to have those options available, because unfortunately, maybe in some countries they do provide, but most of the places they don't provide postpartum support. It's, the birth is what is most, important, but actually it's not just the birth, it's the whole, process, even after birth, especially after birth.
I genuinely, one of the things that I found, like all I wanted to do was breastfeed. And when my son was in NICU for three weeks, I said, I want to be able to breastfeed. How do I do it? And there were days where I literally would have 4 drops come out of my breast. Like I'd watch the drops go out, and I would just like, as long as something's coming out, that's all I need. And I had the support of the most insane lactation consultant, and she just said to me, 4 drops, well done, that's amazing, I'm so proud of you. And I'm at a stage now where I get 160 mils when I pump. And like, it's because that's what I really wanted to do, but I had needed the support of that person. But I was privileged enough that I had the money to pay for it, and I mean, I think every woman should have support. It should be like part of government funding or something, that you have the support of a lactation consultant. And I mean, in hospital, they were like, yeah, have you seen a lactation consultant? And I said, which one? I said, I've been pinched and pulled and done. No one supported me in my breastfeeding journey. And if I had to listen to the hospital nurses, I would be on formula for my baby. And I think hospitals should offer that. Hospitals should have someone who is professional on site to be able to help you breastfeed. And I think that would change the dynamic of people. So many friends, I'm sure you have so many moms who would dream of breastfeeding, but because of society and whatever, they just don't, because it's just too hard, or their milk doesn't come, or whatever it might be. And I think it's such a sad thing that there isn't as freely available lactation consultants walking around going, who wants to breastfeed, I'll help you.
Yeah, there are so many changes to make in this society, in this birth world, because in a hospital, outside the hospital, I think sometimes it's overwhelming. And myself as a midwife, and I get frustrated for so many things that moms share with me, or so much birth trauma, and I feel where should we start? I don't know, but maybe talking about it, that's a good place, to start.
Make people feel less alone, that they, I also thought that breastfeeding would be super easy for me. I thought you would just latch on and drink because my pregnancy was perfect and my birth, whatever, my mind was all like, why would it be a problem? And it became a problem. I realized like I genuinely had a little bit of judgment towards women pre having a baby. I was like, just breastfeed, what's the big deal? I really I wish there was more spoken about, like, to people who weren't pregnant, because or haven't had babies, and say, like, it's actually really hard. It isn't as easy as you think it is. Please don't judge moms before you've even been there, or before you've spoken about it, because it's. I wish I could take back my previous thoughts of, but obviously we are where we are, and we learn and grow. But I wouldn't. If someone wants to be a formula mom, like, cool, you're a mom and you're doing your thing, you're amazing. Like, do whatever you need to do. It's hard enough as it is, but I just can't believe that society open. Like the way we're
be open that there are different choices, and we all have different background, and we make choices also because of that, because everyone has a different experience in their life, their pregnancy, their birth, postpartum, the childhood, the society, culture, whatever it is. So our choices depend also on our background and what we experience. So, and it's okay, there is no right or wrong. It's your choice, it's unique, and you are learning something out of that, and that's fine. It's just to be open, and be open on that rather than judging.
Absolutely.
My last question for today is what did you learn from your birth experience, from your pregnancy and your birth experience? Let's start from there.
Wow, so many lessons from our birth experience, that I think you shouldn't have expectations about the perfect birth. If your baby's healthy, that is the perfect birth, I guess. would be my answer to that. Learning about pregnancy, I think if you can be as fit and strong as you can before falling pregnant will help you tremendously with your body changes. I was really healthy and fit beforehand, and I ate really healthily, and I was really mindful of the way I went through my pregnancy. And I think that helped me a lot in the recovery afterwards. So I think that for me is like really like eating really well and being strong would be something I would advise if you want to be pregnant. It's obviously my opinion, will help. And then, yeah, not trying to plan too much around the birth, just being really, and it's, people say, I've said it to me so many times, but it's like really true. Like just honestly be very open-minded. Listen to the C-section stuff as well as the home birth. Listen to it all, because you don't know what's going to happen. And to be honest, I think it's almost a privilege to have a C-section in an emergency, because we have the luxury of Western medicine where my baby and I might have died. You don't know without that opportunity, without the C-section. I don't know, but that he's safe and he's alive and he's well. And without that, we don't know what would have happened. So I think that is a way to look at it, that it's a privilege we have to be able to have a birth, regardless of how it happens.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. I think, yes, I agree. There is no perfect birth. Yeah.
They're all perfect? Well, no, they're all perfect.
Yeah, like there is no perfect birth, because actually your birth is unique and it's perfect how it is.
Yeah.
Or wherever, even if you don't want to use the word perfect. But I think going back to the present moment, I think what I've learned in my career as a midwife is really be present with what's happening, and whatever birth is, a C-section or vaginal birth, and just be there with the person and hold her, allowing the experience that is happening through her. Then saying, then judging the experience itself. So I think this is something, and also that there is always a lesson, something that you can learn from your experience, and even from birth. I know many women, and I think it's for you is the same. You just shared with us that you had so many lessons. And it's like that, literally every experience in life, that you can learn from it, you can grow from it, and you can have, even if it's the most painful experience, it's actually a life transforming. It can be a life transforming experience. So just be whatever it is, even if it's nothing. So thank you for reminding us of what, and sharing with us, first of all, your experience, your pain, your joy, and also to remind us that every experience is unique, and there are so many lessons and realization through this birthing experience, because I believe it's not just the child that is born, it's also the mother, the father, the parents, the family that is born. Look at what you did as a couple, as a mother, as a family, as a community. I think it's very special that you can share this with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. And it was really cool to sort of encapsulate the last 7.5 months in 45 minutes and try and remember the things I kind of forgot, remember that's it's been a little emotional 45 minutes, but I've almost felt like pent up today. I don't know if I was anticipating what this talk was going to be like, and I feel quite like relaxed now. So thank you.
Thank you, because I think it's also what we were saying before, the power of telling story. When you share with us it's like you liberate something inside you that is there stored in your body, and you have the opportunity actually to use your voice to get it out and be welcomed here, you know, and be accepted and welcome and loved, whatever experience you are experiencing, you know, being there,
Yeah.
going back to being there and love that experience, even if it was painful, even like you said at the beginning, you know, there is a reason why this is happening, and it's not happening to you because something wrong is with you or with your family. It's happening
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
a reason, for you to blossom from that, to learn something, to grow, to uh, you know, have more space, more time, whatever it is, whatever the
Yeah.
lesson is. Yeah.
Thanks
Well,
so much, Laura.
thank you, and have a great day. Thank you for being here with us.